Elden Ring's first DLC trailer holds dozens upon dozens of secrets, and I think the biggest secret among these secrets has to be this crusty abomination. There have been many theories on just who he is, what his motives are, and what on earth he's doing in the Shadow Realm, but today I genuinely think I have found out the answer to these questions, so please sit back, relax, grab some prawns if you want, and enjoy as I relapse into another manic episode. It's easy to assume that we only see this guy once, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This crusty abomination who looks like my drug-addicted neighbour is actually seen twice inside the DLC trailer, the first of which occasion being in a painting, and the second being this crusty abomination form we see, which just so happens to be ripping his own little golden bones out of his body. How we know this is the same person actually has to do with what they're wearing. Inside the first portrait photo, we actually see him wearing this sort of golden robe which has this brooch on. Now if we go to the second guy when he's in his crusty old man form, we actually see he's wearing the same thing. Like quite literally identical, same brooch, same robe, the hair's the same, and to me it looks like the face is also the same. There's no doubt in my mind that these two characters are the same. Now this might not seem like a big deal, but with the fact that these two characters are the same person and a few other details, it leads to some really heavy implications for the future of Elden Ring. The power of gods in Elden Ring lies in their bones. Now this isn't a topic that I've seen talked about very often, but there is so much power in the bones of Elden Ring. For example, Radhn and Marika. When we defeat Radhn and he's submerged under the water, their being is transformed into a sword which, if you look very closely, looks like a spine. The connections to bones doesn't end there, for if you take a really close look at Radhn and Marika and the Elden Ring inside them, it actually looks like it's made up of tiny little bones connecting together. The guy inside the Elden Ring DLC trailer also has golden bones, just like the spine which is pulled out of the water, which is the representation of Marika and Radhn. Marika, Radhn, her kin, the Golden Order, all of that is associated with the colour gold. I think it's a bit too big of a coincidence that this character is also associated with the colour gold. We see the portrait, the picture, it is golden tinted. His bones are quite literally the same sort of colour that the bones of Marika and Radhn are as well. After thinking about it, I think I've come to a conclusion on just who this guy is and what importance he has for the DLC. I think this guy is Marika's daddy. Now, we know that Marika had some sort of parental figure. This is seen by the fact that Marika quite literally has a half-brother. But who on earth is this parental figure? Who is her father or her mother? Who are they? What are they doing? Where are they? And it makes no sense until you remember that Marika isn't from around here. She's a foreigner in these lands. She actually originates from a people called the Newmen, who are denizens of another world. To give you that in simple English, Marika and her people are basically bloody aliens to the lands between. Marika's origins, apart from the fact that we know she's a Newman, are shrouded in mysteries. Miyazaki has said that the DLC is going to delve into Marika's origins. I truly believe this is going to come true in the DLC. I truly believe this is Marika's daddy. I think we're going to find answers to all of our questions. I don't think it's very far-fetched, and I would not be surprised if this turns out to be the case. In true From Software fashion, I believe there is so much more to this than just that. I believe this character is going to be a massive point inside of the DLC. Now, why do I believe this? Well, it has something to do with the person standing next to him inside his little picture. Standing next to him in this picture is what looks like a Deathbed Companion. Now, the only Deathbed Companion we find, or actually talk to inside the lands between, is Fia. Once we get Fia's dress, we actually find out from the item description it's a Deathbed Companion dress. So, considering the fact that this person is wearing the Deathbed Companion dress, that has a lot of implications. We know so little about the Deathbed Companions. All that we do know is they come from outside the lands between. They come from some distant land we never hear of. So isn't it also a bit strange that the same person who's standing next to this Deathbed Companion is possibly a Newman who is a denizen from another world? I believe the Deathbed Companions, the Newman and this guy are all interlocked together. Now it's all fine and dandy me saying all of that, but there is a lot more evidence that actually suggests that this is the case. The Deep Root Depths lore-wise is absolutely fucking incredible. There is so much lore here that gets often overlooked. Most people disregard Fia being here. They immediately think, oh well, she's followed Godwyn here. But I think there's actually more to this than just that. Located all around this area are these ants. Now what's so special about these ants is they have these ball sacks on the back of them. Each one of these ball sacks hold Numen runes. As soon as you break them, you pop them, Numen runes come out. And this isn't some limited occurrence. There are dozens of Numen runes that you can smash and get from these ants. Now, personally, my theory is the Numen have been eaten by these ants and now they're being used as nutrients for their sack and the Numen runes are just in there. But this brings a question, why are there so many Numens here? Well, when you also consider that the Elden Stars incantation can be found down here, the very same incantation which depicts the birth of the Elden Ring and the Holy Vassal being sent down to the lands between, I think there's a really high chance that this was some sort of Numen settlement, or even perhaps where they first stepped foot inside of the lands between. Something you might be wondering is, what role do the Deathbed Companions have in this part of the story? Well, I actually believe that at one point in time the Deathbed Companions lived here in this settlement that is located on the Cum Lake, along with their fellow Numen brethren. Now I have a few reasons for believing this, the first of which being, in Fia the Deathbed Companions questline we are given an item called the Balderkin's Blessing, and it has a really interesting depiction. If you don't know what the depiction is of the same colour palette as the Ghost Flame. Now this is super important because the Ghost Flame is intrinsically linked with death, and in the same light the Deathbed Companions are also intrinsically linked with death. Located all around this city is the Ghost Flame. There are lit up Ghost Flame torches everywhere. Basically everyone inside the Deeproot Depths are dead. The only thing that is really living here is ants, the remnants of gargoyles which are battered and broken, Fia and Godwyn, and a Crucible Knight located in the distance. Everything else is spirits. These spirits also just so happen to be members of Castle Sol, which is a whole nother topic we will get into. My second reason for believing that the Deathbed Companions originally lived here has to do with the fact that Fia comes here and so does Godwyn. There must be something special about the Deeproot Depths. I know a lot of people have said that Godwyn just slithered down and this is where he ended up. But I don't think that's the case. I think there's something else here, and I think I know what it is. It's easy to assume that the Deeproot Depths were destroyed and wreaked havoc on by the effects of Godwyn being there. But I'm going to propose a different idea. I think the Deeproot Depths had always been with death, and I don't think it destroyed it. In fact, I think the Deeproot Depths were defined by it. A culture founded on death and the Ghost Flame. The spirits of long dead soldiers we encounter wield death upon their blades. The creatures we encounter use death and are immune to it and wield it as if it is part of them. This isn't a place that was destroyed by death. It was the very foundation of it. So now the question comes, what happened here? What happened to destroy this place and for it to become the barren wasteland it is now? Well, I believe the answer is war. The Golden Order destroys all it deems not golden, all that does not fit into its idea of perfect order. So this civilization built on death would definitely fit their quota for destruction. And if Marika destroyed this land knowing that the Deathbed Companions and the Numen were there, that suggests that maybe there was some kind of divide or disagreement between her and her people. And I think I know what this disagreement might be. For a long time now, we've always had this niggling question of just what the Ghost Flame is. And I believe the Ghost Flame is actually the absence of grace. Just like how in our world cold is the absence of heat, I believe the Ghost Flame is the absence of grace. It is this bare, hollow version of grace. This is further reinforced by, in the trailer, it literally says, "Those stripped of the grace of gold," while showing our special old crusty man ripping his own bones out. I believe that at one point in time the Greater Will had this guy as its god, but eventually for some reason it abandoned this guy and chose Marika instead. Now this would also give an explanation as to why Marika would want to destroy this guy, because it's a vestige of a previous age. Marika is no stranger to screwing over and fucking over her own family, so this really isn't out of character. If Marika was in fact responsible for the destruction of this city, and this city was where the Deathbed Companions and the Numen were, then it would also give an extra insight into why Fia hates the Golden Order so much. She despises them. Another really interesting detail that comes of all this is if the Ghost Flame is the absence of grace, and it is linked to this guy, then it also brings up the question of all the characters which possess the Ghost Flame. It's this own little culture. Well, it's my theory that perhaps when this guy was stripped of his grace of gold, some people followed him, and in this stripped state, in this bare bones state of grace, I believe they harnessed this bare bones state, and this culture of the Ghost Flame and death was born. I think it's super ironic, the fact that the Greater Will possibly abandoned these guys, left them to die, only they did not die. Instead, in this death that they were pushed into, they found new life. It's really a really cool juxtaposition, and it's from software storytelling at its best. There's been so much to talk about in this video that we haven't even talked about the fact that death and the Ghost Flame seem to be interlocked together. Now, if this is actually the case, and death is linked to this previous age, then it also makes you wonder just why Godwyn is producing this death. Godwyn is the Prince of Death. Now, originally we always just thought, well, he's producing death, so that's what he is. He's responsible then for those who live in death. But I think there's more to it than that. I believe that Godwyn is in communion with this crippled old bag of bones. This is further reinforced by the fact we know Miquella wants to bring back to life a soulless comrade who seems to be Godwyn, considering his soul was stolen on the night of the Black Knives. We also know that Miquella wants to bring about an eclipse. What kind of soldiers are found in the deep root depths, at least their spirits? Well, Castle Sol Knights, the place that is responsible for bringing about the eclipse. It seems like all too big of a coincidence, and I believe that this land, the deep root depths, is the key for all the answers we seek. And that, everyone, wraps up this video. I really do hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, as it lets me know that you're enjoying this style of content and want to see more, and it also really helps the channel. This video was schizophrenic as fuck, but I really do think that there was a lot of good points in here that could come true inside the DLC. Now, I'm really curious to see what you all have to say, so please be brutally honest on this theory, and please let me know. Am I batshit insane? Probably yes, but I am really curious to see what you all have to say. Anyway, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, and yeah, may you find your worth in the waking world. Goodbye, everyone.